The time of Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the Lion of Allah, the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his son-in-law, the fourth caliph, the great warrior, one of the greatest companions, may Allah be pleased with him and ennoble his face. During his time, he was based in Kufa in Iraq. He moved the capital of the Muslims from Medina al-Munawwara due to the troubles, and he went to Kufa in Iraq, and that went away from the Hijaz area, the core land of the revelation and the Quraysh and the sort of noble Arabs, and they went out towards the other lands. Kufa is in Iraq today, and he established the caliphate there. The capital of the Muslims became Kufa. It became a center of learning. However, something quite unique and concerning occurred, and this is what leads us to why we are here today, believe it or not. And what occurred was the following. There was a person, a scholar, a great linguist, great scholar of the language, somebody amazing really. His name was, let's get it up, Abu Aswad al-Du'ali. So this was a person who lived in Kufa, Iraq, great scholar, someone who was a student of Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah please with him, and he had a daughter, Abu Aswad. He was a father. He's actually known for being one of the first to put dotting, or not dotting actually, yeah, dotting. It was dotting, but it wasn't for the letters; it was for the vowels. So he's in the Quran, and we'll talk about that in the future as well. So he was known for many things. A great scholar, student of the companions. He had a daughter, and one day his daughter at night time, she saw the stars in the sky, and she was amazed by the beauty. She was in a state of amazement, and how wonderful the skies are. So she said the following statement: "Ma ajmalu sama," out of amazement, to show her wonder and how beautiful is the sky. But she didn't say the sentence in Arabic in the correct way. The mistake she made was very simple. And what she actually said there, that sentence in front of you, is a question and not a statement of wonder or amazement. The question here in front of us means what? Ma ajmanu is the most beautiful thing of as-sama'i, of the sky. So her father replied, so what is the most beautiful part of the sky? So her father replied, an-nujum, the stars. And it was that was what was she was predominantly the reason for her being amazed at the beauty of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But she didn't say that, she didn't express that amazement correctly in the Arabic language. She said, that sentence in front of us, what she said was, Ma ajmalus sama'i, what is the most beautiful part of the sky? And her father replied, the stars, an-nujum. She replied to her father, she retorted, I wasn't asking the question to you, what is the most beautiful part of the sky? What is the most beautiful thing in the sky? I was amazed. I was showing how wonderful and superb, the sky is, the creation of Allah is. So her father realized he'd made a mistake. So she intended amazement. So she explained this to her father, because she had received a response telling her that it's the stars. And her father became really concerned. And he said to her, this is not what you should have said then. What you should have said was, Ma ajmal as-sama. There's a difference between these two statements. I don't know if anybody's picked it up yet. They look very, very, very similar. But you don't see the previous one. But they are very, very different. This statement here in front of us means, the sky is so beautiful. How beautiful is the sky? I'm amazed, in brackets, as you can see. The sky is so beautiful. This is an expression of ta'ajjub, as is mentioned there for you. in the Arabic, which means amazement, to show your amazement, a kind of surprise as well, in a sense, of how amazing something is, how wonderful and pleasing it is to you. So this is what you should have said. Let's put these two statements together for you, and let's have a look and compare the difference between them. And I've put at the end the punctuation, which is the question mark and the exclamation mark. You don't really have these back in that day, and in Arabic you don't need it. The language itself conveys these meanings, and it's not in that, so really I should have kept that off. What we need to concentrate on is the actual vowelization. I'm sure by now, in fact, if I'd like to ask you guys, maybe comment in the chat box if you can see that. So the first one, I'll read them out to you, and maybe you can detect by the sounding, the vowelization. Ma ajmalus sama and ma ajmalas sama. Ajmalus sama, ajmalas sama. Thank you. So a few of you answered, which is correct. You've all hit the mark. You've all got the point of difference, the main point of difference in this statement. There is a second difference, which some of you may have noticed as well. But the main point, I'm not going to the second one. I've stopped at the end. Ma ajmalus sama, ma ajmalas sama. And as you've commented there, it's the lam in the middle of the sentence, more or less, the middle letter. And in the first example, let's do some notes on here. So in the first one here, let's select the pen. So in the first one here, you can see the vowelization is a dhamma, as you've mentioned. On the second one, you can see here the vowelization is a fatha. That changes the meaning from what is the most beautiful part of the sky as a question to how amazing the sky is, how beautiful the sky is, what a beautiful sky this is. Just the change of these two vowels, right? The dhamma and the fatha. So Abu Aswad, rahimahullah ta'ala, he became very concerned that his daughter, and he was from the Arabs, had become, the language of his daughter was incorrect. This is called lahan, or a mistake in speech, and that's a blameworthy characteristic. It's not. The Arabs were known for their fasaha, or their eloquence and beauty of language, and to make a grammatical mistake is the end of the world. It's just not acceptable, let alone to not be beautiful in your language. Just to even make such a simple basic mistake. So her father became very concerned, and he went to Sayyidina Ali. He went to the Caliph, and he said to the leader, and he was a student of Sayyidina Ali as well, we've got a big problem. Language is deteriorating. There's a degeneration kind of, as time goes on, things are diminishing in the quality, and I've seen it in my own house. And it was known that obviously because Islam had spread to the other countries and around the world, that language was being mixed, and we have that today, by the way. The language that most Arabs speak is mixed with a lot of influences from other cultures now and so forth, and the pristine Arabic that Imam Abu Aswad al-Du'ali rahimahullah ta'ala was wanting to preserve, the revelation of the Quran, the language of the Sahaba and the early generations. So what year was this? Around what time was this? Sayyidina Ali passed away, I think, in the year 40 or 41 AH. So it was before then. So it wasn't very long after the Prophet ﷺ. I mean, the Khulafa al-Rashidun was 30 years. So during the last 6 years of Sayyidina Ali's reign, this happened. So it wasn't a long time, and the signs of deterioration occurred. So what did Sayyidina Ali do? He said to Abu Aswad, we need to do something. We need to start writing, codifying, putting together our language, the language of the Arabs. And Sayyidina Ali said to Abu Aswad, he taught him what language was. He started it off. He started the basic level off. He said, Al-kalimatu imma ismun أو فعل أو حرف أو كما قال رضي الله تعالى عنه. He said something very similar to this from what I recall. He mentioned that a word, kalima, is either a noun, that's ismun, we're going to study this in our first lesson, أو فعل, or a verb, or harfun, a particle. And then he said to Abu Aswad, wanhu, and this is probably a new word for some of you maybe, wanhu hadha an-nahu, and that's the word we have today for grammar. Wanhu hadha an-nahu, and that means naha yanhu. This is a verb at the beginning, it's a command verb, wanhu, which means follow, take this path. Hadha an-nahu means this path, this way, this example. I've given you this, follow this example, follow this method, follow this way of doing, of codifying and writing down the language. So today we've learned, if you didn't already know, the founder of grammar, of codification, is Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib. He's the one that started this process off of explaining the language and writing down the rules of language and grammar and syntax, as it's called, and how we put together words to make meanings, and sentences and meanings and so forth. And why is it called Nahw for? You've learned that now as well. It's called Nahw because Nahw doesn't mean grammar, by the way. Linguistically, it doesn't mean grammar. Like in the Arabic language, before Sayyidina Ali said this statement, Nahw simply meant a path, a way. It means similarity to something, right? You could say Aliyun Nahwu Muhammadin. Ali is like Muhammad. He resembles Nahwu. Right, so Nahw was used for this kind of meaning. I'm sure you kind of picked up the rough meanings of the word Nahw.